And we're live. Okay, so we're gonna try this again. Hopefully the lag is out of the way now, and we can continue the podcast as intended. So I'm gonna go ahead and repeat the haiku for today's episode one more time. Phi, this fickle world, 3 days neglected cherry branch, and you are bare. By Ryota.
That's a cool name.
That's a cool name, huh?
Ryota?
Ryota. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
You think that's a woman's name or a man's name?
Well, considering the time that this was probably written, I'm gonna say it's a man's name.
Man. Yeah. Huh.
Not to be sexist, but I don't think that women were able to publish anything back in that day.
That makes sense.
In Japan, due to I don't know. I could be wrong. Anyway, what's going on, Greg? We're continuing this podcast via social distancing, brought to you by Skype.
And Huntington Beach.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I'm telling you, I love this. Um, you know, we're able to have this conversation even through this pandemic, which I think, if correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that we're finally are starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I think we've gotten to the point where we don't care about it in the sense anymore. No, see, I can't even say that, man, because there's places I go. Like, if you go down to the beach right now,
Uh
no
huh.
one will have a mask on. No one will have one. You go to the grocery store, everyone will have one. Like, or like, if you walk down like a street by your house, I'd probably say 75% of people will have a mask on. So it's I think it's just there's people who are tired of it, like people who work in places like grocery stores or other important places like hospitals. I think people are just tired of wearing the mask. You're like, I've probably already gotten it and don't care anymore. And then there's other people who are still scared of it. So I don't know. I don't think we're there. I think the worst is to come in the sense of not life or death, but in the sense of everyday living, which
Yeah.
which can convert to life or death, I guess.
What about um? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess some people are fed up, definitely. But what do you think about just the pandemic as a whole, like the sickness? Do you think that the we quote unquote flattened the curve, that we reached the peak here in California?
Um, mm, I don't think so, but I don't necessarily think that because the whole peak thing is just people getting sick. It wasn't necessarily like not being able to take care of the sick people. Like not everyone's dying from it. So I think once everything opens, there'll be more cases than we've had previous, but I don't think it's going to be like the same issue. Because the whole thing was just they didn't know what was going to happen, so let's precaution just in case. And now they know what's going to happen, so it's kind of like they're like, all right, it's going to happen at some point. Let's go. We're ready.
Yeah, I think this was a good practice for something much worse than it is. And I'm not saying that this wasn't bad at all, because not only did some people die, but also a lot of people lost their jobs. So, I mean, we were hit from all different angles, you know, because of this pandemic. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
See, like some people though, like a lot of people are like, oh, I lost my job, but it's kind of not the same thing. Like you didn't necessarily lose your job. Like I haven't seen anyone who's completely lost a job. Like you're not going to get your job back when we open up, kind of thing. I've only seen people not being able to work because things are having to be closed. Like I don't consider myself like out of a job. I just can't work the same job right now, and there's not really much else out there to do yet.
Yeah, but I mean, even yourself, I mean, you were struggling to grab, to be able to get the EDD unemployment check. And what I mean by losing their job, yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that they lost their job completely, but they're out of work at the moment and they can't get paid. There's no, maybe the EDD didn't go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm sure everything will go back to normal. But what's important here is how fast. When will that be? When can when can things go back to normal? Is it going to be 20%, 50%? Is it going to be 100%? And how long is it going to take for us to
Yeah.
get there? I think that's the key point, right?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think once places start to open up, a lot of stuff is not going to like there were, let's put it this way, there were plenty of jobs that had too many employees for what they did, and now they don't need everyone, so people will lose their jobs. But at the same time, once people start to work, they're not going to have as much time to go out, and then they're not going to want to go out.
Yeah, it's that is actually a real thing, where people are going to realize, these companies are going to realize that maybe I didn't need all these people that I had, and they're taking this time to restructure their business,
Yeah, that's definitely it. I
and then
see.
also,
Mhm.
I think that the takeout business style and the delivery is going to pick up even more, because people are going to realize, okay, so these people now offer takeout or delivery, and maybe they tried a new restaurant and they liked it, and they see that they do takeout or delivery. Like, I don't know how much of, like, what percentage of those people will actually go back to that restaurant, the traditional way, by going in there and sitting down. And then I also think that maybe some of these restaurants are going to just be takeout only.
Nah,
You don't think so?
I think, nah, yeah, I think restaurants and bars will go back because it's those places are meeting grounds. That's
Yeah.
where we go for one
Socialize.
to socialize. Yeah, no, you're not gonna want someone in your house if your house is dirty, and if you don't want to clean the house, then what are you gonna do? Hey, let's go somewhere. So like,
Yeah, that's a
I
good
think that
point.
stuff's gonna come back. Plus, all the people who haven't been able to go out that want to go out, they're gonna want to go to places, and I think I think there's a lot of money that's been given out that like people have kind of just sat on because they've got nothing else to do with it. So I think there will be some kind of spending wave. Like I thought the other night, one of our neighbors is like, "Who wants to do sushi tonight?" I don't like sushi, so I said I'm out. I don't like sushi, but like I wanted to go somewhere, not for the fact like that I necessarily wanted to eat somewhere. I was
Just
just
to be
like,
out.
I want to go somewhere. Yeah, like I don't care. Like when I go to a restaurant, I don't go to the restaurant to hope and hopefully meet like new friends or anyone. Like I just go because it's somewhere to go. Then you don't have to invite someone to the house, and there's a time period to it. Like you're not gonna be there all day, and you don't have to kick someone out. You can just be like, I'm gonna go home. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, that's funny, dude.
Like it's easier to invite someone somewhere and be like, hey, let's go have lunch. Once lunch is done, you can be like, all right, I gotta go. Got something to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also a good point, man. It's easier to just go back to your routine without having to be without having the inconvenience of
Yeah.
hosting somebody, right?
Yeah. And like I don't know, I haven't gone to check, but like are clothing stores and things like that open? They're not, right?
I heard that some retail stores were going to start opening up with restrictions. I don't necessarily know if clothing stores are the, yeah, because there's
Because I
there's a lot
mean,
of items that people touch.
yeah,
So it's a very,
like
what do you
shoe
call it?
stores, like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, but I mean, things like that. I think places like that are going to start getting a good amount of business because it's been 2 months now, and everyone's been going to Walmart to get clothes and to get shoes and stuff like that. Like they're not going to want that. They're going to want their style back, everything like that, and then you're gonna. I think there's gonna be a big. I think travel will become pretty big because it'll go back to being cheap. And even if it's not like far distance traveling, like going to like state parks, going to beaches, going like didn't one of our friends just go to Mount Baldy, or he's going?
No, we're planning on hiking it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
So
planning on
like
hiking it once they open.
yeah, so stuff like that. I think people are gonna want to start going and doing things like that because it's 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 on that verge of free, but it still costs. So like you got to drive there, you got to spend gas. Then like if you're camping, you got to get a tent. You pay for the lot. You got to bring food, stuff like that. But it's most of that expense is really like you're gonna get food anyways to eat at your house. Now you're just bringing food to a specific place.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the rise of that stuff will happen. I think we'll get away from other things like uh, I don't know. What is a lot of frivolous things people would buy?
I don't know, man. People buy a lot of bullshit, to be honest. I buy
Yeah.
a lot of bullshit. Not so much nowadays, but I used to.
Hmm.
And let's see, when I was in, now that I'm getting to my 30th year, my early 20s, I spent all my money on going out, just spending money on in restaurants or bars or, you know, um, not so, I mean, a little bit of clothes, but I don't know. What would you consider something frivolous? Like something that you
Um,
really don't need?
well, it's like people would go down to like Goodwill or Salvation Army and just like with no intention of necessarily buying anything. They're just like, oh, let's go. You never know what you're gonna find, and they'd walk through, and then at the end of the day, they walk out with a bunch of cool stuff. But then again, at the end of the day, it's just stuff, and they spent like 20, $30. Sure, it's not that much, but like, did you really need that little angel knickknack or like that like extra
Yes,
plush toy or something?
Greg, I needed it. I needed my Buddha, man.
So
I need to bring peace.
I think some of that stuff will suffer for quite a while, but I
Yeah,
don't know.
I think that's a good point, man. I think that most people have realized what is necessary. What do I
Yeah,
actually need? And I hope they get rid of the things that they don't need. Um, but also, should we? Should I hope for that? I mean, they're stimulating the economy. They're still buying
yeah.
stuff, which means,
I just
yeah,
don't think it's gonna be as big. So it's like it's gonna be harder for companies to stay around. So it's like we're kind of on a pause button right now, but once it comes back, it's the same why a lot of restaurants didn't stay open. It wasn't because that they couldn't stay open. It was that there wasn't enough business to stay open. So when the restaurants open back up and people will come in to sit down, like most people want to do,
uh huh.
are the people going to be coming in to sitting down now? So now all these restaurants are going to start closing. Same thing with like, let's say like even in like Target, you have all those different brands. I think we're going to lose out a lot on a lot of brands. Different brands are going to be going like it's not that we won't notice less coffee cups being made, but there will be less coffee cup companies.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So
we're gonna lose the variety that
yeah,
we had.
I was talking to a friend about how most people think that when we think about industries being affected, we think about just the specific industry, but we don't really think about the industries behind it. So when it comes to restaurants, like most people would think that it's just a restaurant being out of business. Well, no. Well, now if it was a seafood restaurant, well, now the fishermen are gonna suffer. If it was like a barbecue place like Lucille's, now it's farmers gonna suffer. Cleaning supplies like the cleaning vendors, all those places, we're gonna need less if there's no more restaurants. You know,
Yeah,
um, so there's so many. It's a huge net of things that they're gonna feel the ripple effects of all of this.
Yeah, and it's not that there's not jobs out there. Like my roommate actually got a phone call today and was interviewed for a financial company, and he didn't even apply for it.
What?
So yeah, so it's like there are certain places that need more people now. Just because you don't have the expertise in it is kind of on you in that sense.
Yeah, the training,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it'll be interesting. I think that,
Oh, it's definitely going to be really interesting to
yeah,
see
it's a.
where it goes from here.
I think it would be a good time to kind of re-educate America almost. Like, like
In what way?
if you can't find a job, like let's send them to school. You know,
Hey, that's a good idea, man.
like if the restaurants can't hire enough people or the bars just don't have enough people in there, it's just open up the schools to start learning. Let's
So Greg, let me ask you this.
send people to the next level.
Let me ask you this. If let's say that EDD right now contacted you and said, "Hey Greg, we have this wonderful opportunity for you. Instead of sending you the unemployment money that you're owed, we're going to pay for your school for you to go get a a trade skill." Would you trade that? You personally?
I'm, I mean, I'd have to look into the details, but I mean, if it was able to pay my bills and stuff like that, and in the same time as going to learn, yeah. So like, sure, like let's say I had to move into like a studio or something.
Uh huh.
Like they just had like a small studio. Kind of like some schools have the schooling
Like
housing.
dorms? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah.
Only if it came with the dorm?
Well, I mean, you got to live somehow, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to go to school,
Or
work full
let's say
time.
or let's say
You
that
know what I
they cut
mean?
your pay in half. They're like, you know what, you're owed 100%. We're only gonna give you 50%, but you need to go to school.
So like,
'Cause you're still getting a little bit of income, but now
yeah,
you're yeah. Or what if they said, you know what? Um, I wonder if they already do that now. I wonder um if they offer to pay your unemployment to keep paying your unemployment as long as you're going to school.
yeah. If you're like a full time student or something.
Yeah. I mean, I
I
don't really
mean,
know how that works,
yeah,
but it would be a good idea. We can have the conversation. I think that's a good idea, man. I think that
yeah,
we should take this opportunity to re-educate people and educate more
yeah.
people so that
Like I
then
was talking.
uh-huh.
Uh huh.
No, go
I
ahead.
was talking to my roommate about like general education in college. Like, I think one of the big reasons a lot of people don't continue into college is they don't want to go back and study science, history, and math when it doesn't necessarily like teach them something they want to learn. Like computer science, sure, you got to know math, but why not learn that math while you're learning the computer science rather than having to take like simple math for 2 years just to get that degree so you can move on to your computer science degree. Like
So
if
be
we just
more
made that free and
specialized.
online
Yeah.
and a little simpler to get through the process, uh, like it, I feel like it would be easier. Like I still think that schools will eventually just go all online. Maybe not for the younger kids because it's harder to do something like that.
Uh-huh.
But like if you did it almost in a community setting, like like I thought about this. Most places you'll have a park nearby, like a community park. So so each area can have essentially one park for however mile distance, and then you'll do your schooling online. And then if there's anything where like you would have to do like a lab or something, you would go to the park because you go to the park for recess to have your social interaction. You can go there to have a lab, so you have like a specified teacher for like the whole area that walks you through this kind of lab, and then like it cuts out schools altogether, like an actual physical place to have a school.
Yeah, but what about like the kids who would be driving them back and forth? You know, the parents, they work full time, they work two jobs.
Yeah, that's what. And then I don't know. Damn. I guess I'm just thinking right now because in the sense like no one works or not that
Yeah,
many people work.
yeah.
Usually there's someone in the household. So and it's one of the other things that's been super weird during right now. It's like if I did have a kid, well I do, but like who's
I
gonna
was gonna say.
like say I lived by myself, right? And it was just
Yeah.
me and him, and now I have to find someone who's willing to watch him so I could go to work. And then if no one was willing to watch because they didn't want the possibility of getting sick, then like you're just out of luck. Like, that's been very interesting. Haven't really experienced anyone that's been like that, but I don't
They're
know.
around the corner. They're around
Yeah,
the corner. You're gonna, I'm sure it's gonna be something that you're gonna have to think about and prepare for.
like why don't schools provide childcare? Like I know some schools provide it like after school programs and stuff like that, but like why haven't they expanded on that? Like had more of a child care system that went on longer. So like let's say my son has school and then let's say I work at 5 o'clock at night until like until 10 or something. Why isn't there some kind of like extended daycare system for that so that more people can go out and work?
I think there's a couple things there, man. I think number one is funding. Schools barely get any funding. Like just look at the way teachers are being paid. And then second would be liability.
Yeah.
I mean, you're increasing the chances that something may happen to your kid. Uh, you know, after school,
Yeah.
because it's not that regular teachers are usually, uh, teacher aides or volunteers, and I mean, there's a lot of liability. Even just sending your kids to school, there's a lot of liability in that.
Yeah, schools are kind of weird, but
Yeah, I mean, it's good to have this conversation because you never know. Maybe we can spark something up, and next thing you know, you can go back to study some sort of technical skill or a trade.
yeah.
Now, if you could have it your way and you could do that, what kind of trade would you want to take?
I mean, if it's a physical trade, I mean,
I
some
mean,
people
they
consider
they
coding
come
as a
in
trade, but
they come in
um,
different
I don't know. I was always interested in like woodworking. I
like
hadn't done,
carpentry.
yeah, I hadn't done it. No, not necessarily carpentry, but like more or less making more like custom things. Like I don't want to sit there and build the same cabinet over and over and over,
Uh huh.
or like I don't want to go in and rebuild a kitchen. Like I'd rather like make like skateboard or like one day make a like I don't know, like make different things, like make a chair and make benches. Like I wouldn't want to just specify in one thing.
Yeah. Um. You can already do that. I know people can't see my desk or my coffee table rather, but you've seen my coffee table. My
Yeah,
brothers built it, and they're no carpenters. They're just like
yeah,
handymen, and I think they did a really good job.
yeah.
Like, would you yourself, if you had the money, would you pay like 350 for it?
I don't know about that. I wouldn't
It's
really.
it's like it's like a lifetime
But
type of
it's like
table.
but see, there's certain things that like I'm not necessarily willing to pay that much for. Like the my dresser right here, that was an expensive
Hmm.
dresser. Like you can't really just find a friend and like, hey man, can you build a dresser? You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like I can be like, hey, let's go buy. let's go buy a few things and make a table. Like I went to IKEA and bought a table for $35.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's certain things like that that like I'm not gonna buy another table that's similar to this, but authentic quality like wood and like a hydraulic like rising desk. I'm not gonna spend like $1,000 when I can go out and buy something for 35.
Yeah.
Like I mean, if I had the money in my pocket, it'd be a different story.
Well, that's what I mean. Like if money wasn't an obstacle, and you're not buying anything for your apartment, you're buying something for your home. Would you pay $350 for a table that you could probably leave to your kids?
Yeah,
So I mean, you have that option. You can do that now. There's I'm just saying there's a lot of things that you can probably start doing if carpentry or woodworking was something that you're interested in. You can probably start doing that now.
yeah. Like my
Like Gabe.
roommate was listening to what's his name, Mark Cuban, and how he said to set up a business about like installing like Google Homes and Alexas in people's homes
Uh-huh.
and like get their whole house automated.
Uh-huh.
He came to me, he's like, "Let's do it." And I was like, "I don't really know how to do that." And like, what happens when someone wants it in a certain spot and there's no outlets? Like, I don't know how to do that. It's like, then hire an electrician, tell them how much it's going to cost, and if they want it, they want it. If not, then they don't get it.
Yeah, man.
And
That's not a bad idea. You mean you don't know how to route cable or
well, yeah, I wouldn't know. Like, if you came up to me and said, like, right next to where your hand is, you want to have your Google Home, but the closest outlet's on the other wall, so now you're gonna have a wire going across the wall, but they don't want to see wires. What are you gonna do?
yeah, you got to route
You gotta go
a
through the wall.
line. Yep. But any handyman can do that.
Yeah. See, so it's like you gotta learn it first. So
Yeah.
you just have to take the risk to do something.
Exactly, man. You just gotta say, fuck it and do it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think I was walking around today, and it seems more people are out and about nowadays. Have you seen that on your end?
Uh, I
I mean,
mean,
besides the protesters that
can't
that
really
have
tell you 'cause I
invaded
haven't gone out.
your house.
I don't think I've stepped outside of like going to the trash can in a couple days. Like,
Wow,
yeah. Like, but
that's crazy.
actually, it's probably been since Tuesday. So, because usually I go out and go for a walk with my son, or like we'll go down and do like we race in the alleyway. So we do sprints and stuff like that. But when he's not here, I just stay inside.
Oh, Greg, you make sure you gotta get your vitamin D, man.
You know, I've actually been my neighbor. His mom has a orange tree, so he's been bringing oranges for everyone, and I've been squeezing out some fresh orange juice, man. Ooh, it's been so good. It's
Yeah,
vitamin C, right?
vitamin C. I
Yeah.
think it also has a little bit of vitamin D, but it's almost insignificant.
I mean, I go stand on my balcony, or like I look out my window a lot, so my I absorb
I
vitamin D
can,
very quickly.
I can just imagine you just sitting there looking out your window. Just do you have a
I
window? Or you have a balcony?
oh no, well, I have a window in my room, and then there's a balcony in the front of the house.
Oh, okay.
And so like sometimes we'll go out there and talk to our neighbors because the two of our neighbors that we know are straight across from us on the second level as well.
Uh
So one of them goes on their balcony and the other one just stands in his room, and we all just kind of talk.
huh. That's
So like
hilarious.
randomly you'll be like walking to the kitchen and you'll just hear someone whistling to you, and you just like look out and wave to each other like really cute. And it's like so awkward now because like you can't. You're like, oh, what's new?
same
Nothing.
same thing as yesterday, right? Same old,
Yeah.
same old. Yeah.
Yeah. So I, I,
Yeah,
I
that's
think the
hilarious.
social interaction is gonna get really awkward, and it's gonna be very funny.
Well, I think that it's also changed.
It and I think I'll fit in better because I'm already awkward about social interaction.
And it's changed a lot already, man.
Yeah,
Like, interacting with people when you have a mask on, you can barely see an expression.
yeah.
Especially now that I'm wearing glasses.
I
I
don't
bet
know.
I look a little shady to people.
I don't know if it's just been me or the places I've gone, but no place is playing music. Like I went to the grocery store, no music. Costco, no music. Like it's eerie. Like Costco is very eerie to be inside.
There's a lot of social pressure, huh?
Well, no, it's just well,
Because
I don't know what you mean by that, but
so
like
what I mean by that is like you're walking around, people are looking at you like, are you gonna come close to me? Like, what is
yeah,
this? Like, more observant. They're like, what is this guy doing? Why is this guy getting close to me? Or you see people get really annoyed. Like the other day, man. For Cinco de Mayo, we went to go grab some tacos, right? And I was thinking,
yeah,
like, we can get them delivered, or they're probably going to be soggy by the time we get them. So let's just go get takeout. Well, we were maybe fourth in line. We were about to place our order, and people were just coming into the place like nothing was happening.
yeah,
And I was like, damn, like, usually I wouldn't mind, but now I'm like, it's like nobody knows how to follow the rules. So I wasn't like judging people, but I was definitely upset. Like, there must be a better way to do this. I was thinking, but I don't know. Have you
we're not built for it.
for what,
We were built. Nothing is built for staying away from
like
people right now.
isolation?
Yeah, like
Well,
we try
no,
to use the least amount of room to maximize.
yeah, it's why New York exists.
Can you
Like
imagine
everybody wants to be cramped together in that city. You
yeah.
know?
Like, can you imagine Main Place Mall opening up? Like, walking through like a clothing store. Like, you'd be every piece of clothing in there is gonna be touched by someone's body. Like, you could barely walk through the aisles without rubbing all the clothes.
Yeah, that's something that we're gonna have to get over. Is the fear.
Yeah,
Um, I'm telling you, man. I think before everything goes back to normal, I think it's gonna be at least a year, maybe
yeah,
more. When, like you said, when malls start opening up, you're gonna
yeah,
have these people coming in. I'm sure that still gonna be a little sketched out.
yeah,
There's still gonna be some social distancing. There's still gonna be, um, yeah. I mean, I'm thinking people will continue to start wearing the masks, almost not permanently, but almost permanently. I think it's a good
yeah.
idea.
Well, because like with a lot of the places that will be allowed to open up coming up in the next week, um, or what is that? That's a week from now, right? The 15th. Yeah,
I thought they
that's
started
next Friday.
opening today. No,
Well, some places
some places.
are fine to open today, but it doesn't change anything technically. So it's still curbside pickup and keep people apart, and workers have to wear face masks. So it's like it didn't necessarily change anything for a lot of places.
Uh huh.
And so when things are going to be opening back up, it's going to be the same thing. You can't sit people next to each other. So maybe a restaurant will open up, but you can only seat every other table, or depending on how your restaurant's like designed. So like you've been to the restaurant that I was in Long Beach. It's just one straightaway path, and
Mm-hmm.
there's only 20 tables total. So you would assume that you can sit 10 tables, but because it's a straightaway path, um, four of those tables in the back you can't seat anymore. So now you're only seating 7 tables in the restaurant. So like, are you really back open? Like, a lot of these rules are still going to hinder businesses from running.
Yeah, man.
So like, things aren't really opening up until
I think
they
they're.
don't
I think it's a
worry
way
about it.
to. Yeah, I think it's a way to ease people in. Again, I think that people are are going to continue to be afraid.
Yeah.
The vast majority are going to continue to be afraid. They're going to continue to be afraid of
I
touching certain things like the retail store, man. I'm telling you, retail stores like the like those clothing stores. I don't know, man. I don't see them surviving for very
I don't think that
anytime longer.
I don't think that the people are necessarily going to stay afraid. I just think there's going to be rules in place that if a business doesn't follow, they're going to be shut down. So businesses are going to follow it, which then therefore the people coming in, like, are you going to go somewhere and wait an hour to get in to buy a pair of jeans? Or are you just going to go to the next place where you can get it really quickly? Like, I think rules like that are going to hinder. But I think at the same time, by slowly opening and doing things like this to where less people are going to be
Mm-hmm.
buying, but like still those places will have enough business to stay open for the people who are working, I think will help because of the amount of people on unemployment. So like if I went back to work next week, I would still get unemployment because they're not asking me if I went back to work and I'm not required to give any of the money back. So now I'm getting what I'm getting close to what I was making before on unemployment. So if I go back to work, I'm going to be essentially working two jobs for the price of one. I'm going to be getting a ton of money. So it's almost
Yeah.
going to be like incentivizing people to actually go back to work because you're going to get both. You see what I'm saying? So it's not going
Yeah.
to keep people like from going back to work. It's almost going to incentivize them to go back to work
Yeah.
because
It's a complex thing. I don't think there's. It's very gray. I don't really know exactly what's gonna happen. It's all speculation. I mean, we're really hoping for the best, right? The best
yeah.
scenario would be start reopening things up and let's find a vaccine for this damn virus. I think that way people would be more, um, yeah, they would have more peace of mind. I don't think they would worry that much.
I mean, vaccine won't come for. I don't think without testing. I don't think anything comes out sooner than 2 years.
Yeah. And then not just the vaccine coming out, but people taking it. And it's
Yeah,
something that I don't know if you've been up to date, but there's so many conspiracy theories out there in regards to the vaccine, like who owns them,
yep.
you know. So there's already a lot of
Yeah.
mistrust.
I find it so interesting that because people are thinking that like end times with this vaccine that it's gonna have the chip in it and all that, but then you have Elon Musk over here talking about putting a chip in your brain, like, and no one's
Honestly,
batting an
man,
eye.
I'm really happy that you brought that up because I was really thinking about that. I was thinking about this.
Yeah, because
I'm
like
thinking about I'm thinking about it like this. In for people who've studied the Bible, I'm not. I guess I wouldn't say I'm one of them because I really haven't opened up the book much. But there's a lot of things that well, are you familiar with it, Greg? Was it Genesis?
barely,
Barely. That said
barely,
that there
yeah.
were some things that were going to start happening, and we're kind of seeing it now. But also, I don't know if it was written also very vaguely so that we can interpret it in many, many ways. And maybe this is just one of those ways, or if it's an actual thing, where it says that the devil is going to seduce you, you're going to put the mark of the beast on you, and then, yeah. And I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I want to get
Yeah,
into it.
yeah, I don't know, because I heard something that he was talking about the Neuralink, and he
Yeah.
was saying that for some people it will improve their life and it can save other people's lives. And right as I heard that, I was like, wait a second, what if they came to you and like a doctor's like, you're gonna be dead in a month. We have this thing that we can put in your brain, where I mean it can keep you alive indefinitely from whatever issue you have. You gonna say yes or no? And like, were you just misled into getting the market? Or are you gonna let yourself die? Like, it's crazy.
So one of the things that he did mention was that you can save state, which means that in the near future, we're going to be able to download our consciousness into a different
Mm,
thing. And so the question is, um, would you rather die and go to heaven if there's such a thing, or would you want to live here as if we're heaven? And so I think it's going to be a very divisive topic
so
where believers are going to really clash with the people that want to actually do it.
yeah,
It's
the
like,
one,
oh, they're seducing you, but I mean, it's really weird, man.
yeah, because the he's talking about that whole what is it called? Your memories? I forget the word. You just said it a
Dementia.
second. No. Your
Oh,
consciousness.
save state consciousness.
Yeah. So it almost sounded more or less not that your consciousness is going to continue on. Like you won't actually like be able to continue living. It will essentially be memories, just like how we're recording a video right now, and you could replay it over and over and over. It's not really the same as like consciousness. Like
Well,
this video,
yeah,
the
not
Marco and
yet.
the Greg in the video
Hmm.
aren't going to continue to live on. Like that video is just the video for whoever can consume
Look, man, this is kind of getting weird because
it.
let me tell you this. Last year, when I started experiencing for the first time, I wouldn't say for the first time. The first time I was aware and I put a name on it. Okay. When I started experiencing anxiety last year, it came to me as a bunch of deja vu. And I would sit there, I'm like, oh shit, this is happening again. Wait, why am I here again? I feel like I've been here before. And I'm wondering, man, if this is just like my consciousness picking up the transmission of the future. Like you said, like he said, that we're gonna be able to replay our lives in such a way that we're actually going to be able to feel and see the colors, feel the emotions, feel the touch. I mean,
Yeah.
it that? Is it me? Uh, was it like me being aware of the projection, or what?
Well, see, like I can understand that. Like was talking about being able to like go back to a time in your life, and you couldn't, like I couldn't remember exactly like what we did on February 1st in our sophomore year of high school. But because of this, it would have essentially recorded it, so I
Right,
could go back in time and relive that moment.
right.
But I think there is an ending to life still. I think essentially it's just going to be a better quality of remembrance, or a quicker recollection of what's going on. But I don't think there's going to. I don't think he's anywhere near something that would be a concept of continuing life. Like I think we have a certain amount of time, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have that now, right? That we have that
Yeah,
now.
it's like if you
But
just recorded all the time.
I guess the biggest fear would be AI. Well, I mean, we really don't even have any clue of what it can or cannot become. We really do not. We don't understand it. We will not understand it. There's no way we're gonna be able to understand it. Is it gonna be able to solve that issue? say, you know what, this is how you can download your consciousness. This is the way to do it. Like we're not there yet. And so his argument says basically, if you can't join it, or if you can't beat it, join it, because it's inevitable. So at what point? I mean, I'm sure, man. I'm sure it's gonna happen to us when we're older. We're gonna have to decide one day: do we continue to evolve, or do we stay and we die, and then the new kids are the immortal ones? Like, you know what I mean? Like almost like
Yeah.
the boomers now. They're like, oh, these kids are always on their phones and uh, everything's Twitter and TikTok and Instagram. Are we gonna be those guys? You know, when we're gonna have to make that decision someday. Like, you know what? Whether it's Elon Musk or AI or whatever, they figured out how to download your consciousness. Would you do it? Would you do it, Greg?
I don't know. Maybe it
It's
is
tough,
then.
right?
Yeah. Because it's like what's the like I don't know. I guess it's no different than like a pacemaker. I mean, the people have had pacemakers, and you could have said it back then when pacemakers first came out, like this is the
That's
sign of
it.
the devil. Like they're putting a chip inside your body. Like that's where the confusion comes in. Like, are you being deceived into something that's from the devil, or like, you know what I mean? Like, like how do you know? And how like deception usually is like something's wrong, and you do it anyways. But like in a circumstance like that, like how is it wrong to say, like, say you're paralyzed and you get this and it helps you move again? Like how was that like good or bad?
Yeah. And then also, I mean, I don't know, but if I were the devil, wouldn't I have come up with this a long time ago?
Well, I mean, like I said, you'll never know when it's gonna happen.
But that's what I'm saying. It's so
So
vague. It can,
yeah, it is big.
if you know, under interpretation, that means millennia,
It can mean forever. It can mean nowhere near any of our times.
or it already happened,
I mean,
or you know what I mean?
or
Or
it already happened.
because okay, so he also says that we're essentially a cyborg now. The phone is an extension of us now. A car is an extension of us. You know,
Yeah,
so we've already, in a sense, have already taken it. Like you have a phone, I have a phone. They both have chips. Back, you know, I don't know if yours has a chip now, but back
yeah,
in the day, they all had chips. Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that I would like to do more research on, and then just dedicate a whole podcast to it.
yeah. I mean, yeah, your
There-
computer's
There's
got a chip, and it makes you do things that maybe you don't want to do, like downloading a movie illegally, or like if you take it into the Bible concept, you watching porn, or like things like that. Like, did the chip deceive you into doing things? Damn.
but is it the chip? Because
But now,
even before computers, you know, people had magazines. When Playboy
yeah,
first came out, it
yeah,
was no chip. It was Playboy. It was a magazine. Um, I mean, we've been sinning forever since the first day we received consciousness, whichever way that was, whether
yeah.
it was through monkeys eating a mushroom, or if it was, you know, Adam tasting, Adam and Eve tasting the knowledge, the fruit of knowledge.
Uh huh.
Since then, we've, you know, since we were conscious, we've been sinning,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, did Adam and Eve get married before they had children?
There was no, I don't know. Is there anything in the Bible that says that?
I don't think it was a sin at that point.
So what made
Or
it a
no, they were
sin?
casted out before they had children. So yeah, I guess maybe they did sin.
But I
I
mean,
don't know.
even just the fact that they tasted the apple, that they ate the fruit of the tree of knowledge.
Yeah.
I think that is what the people you know um, referred to as conscious. That's when we became conscious at whatever point that was.
Hmm.
I don't know, man. I would love to do more research and just dedicate a whole podcast to that. Um, yeah. And right now, I think the only thing I can think of right now is just this weird time that we're in. Never before have I ever seen Orange County look like a ghost town. You know, to today, I went around. You know, I drove all throughout Orange County, picking up rents and doing errands and blah 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 blah, and no traffic.
Yeah.
80% of traffic was decimated by the pandemic. There's still cars out there, but there's no traffic. Um, Yesterday I went to go pick up my boss from the airport. Dude, I could not believe that I was in LAX. If I saw 50 people the whole time I was there, it was a miracle.
Yeah.
I'm serious, man. I probably saw 20 people at the most. Not including the cars. Maybe 3 people at the gate waiting for people.
Yeah.
It was really crazy. It was weird. It felt like I felt like I was in a movie. The person next to me, they were wearing like a white gown, kind of like this painter gowns, like the hazard gowns.
Yeah.
Some people from the airplanes that were onboarding, they had the gowns as well with safety goggles, the mask, the
Really?
whole 8 yards. They had tape in the seams, everything. It was weird.
Wow.
They had booties
I
on
don't
their
know.
shoes. I mean,
I don't.
I give it up to them for being cautious, but yeah, it was just weird. It was just weird sitting in that moment and seeing what our reality has become.
Yeah. And it's like what all these people wanted to go back by the 15th, like, and you still have people wearing hazmat suits on airplanes. Like, I don't know. It ain't gonna happen if people are still wearing hazmat suits. Because it doesn't
Yeah.
have to do with like just people saying, "Oh, we're open now." It has to do with the majority of people's opinions on it,
Yeah. You know
because that's what drives
exactly.
business.
And something, I just heard Bill Maher say something the other day. He said, "The only way we're going to beat this is by just, keeping your immunity up. We have to get together. We have to continue to interact with germs, you know. We have to continue getting together in crowds again because if we look at it from the time that it happened, everything was still open in a sense, and it was a very small percentage that got infected. Well, so to speak, in compared to the actual total population of the U.S.
Yeah.
and even globally. If we think globally, we're what, almost 8 billion people in the planet. Can you look that up, Greg, to see how many people were actually infected globally? I think that's a good. That'd be a good thing to discuss.
I mean, you're gonna get complete skewed numbers, but let's just click on this
Let's
first
say
one. It
people
says
were.
coronavirus, 4 million. Oh, it says view by country. I don't know what country this is on.
There's
I
no
don't think
global.
this. see if there's a total at the very bottom. Total says about 4 million for the world. But the issue with that is that this is including a lot of places that are probably not really testing. Like let's go to the very bottom. It's probably like let's see, one that I finally actually know what like look like no, see, like most of these places I don't even know what they are. Like, I don't know, Kenya. Like, are they really testing a lot of people in Kenya? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of countries, like, a lot of the people can barely afford food. Like, are they really gonna be testing people?
Right.
No.
But okay,
So
let's
like,
let's be generous. Let's give them 20 million people. What percentage is 20 million from 8 billion?
20% of 8 billion or 80
No.
billion?
No. So how I think the total population on Earth right now is like 7.7 billion people. What percentage is 20 million of that?
So 7.8 billion is the world population roughly.
So 7.8. So how much would, 20 million be? What percentage is that?
Um, I mean that's a tenth. So that's 10%.
10%?
Yeah, I
So
believe I
10
did that right.
I don't know if that's 10%.
Yeah, it's not that like it's testing though. Like did I don't know. Most people I know didn't get tested.
Yeah,
Like
but what I'm saying is from the world's population, 10 let's say 10% people got sick. It wasn't 10% people who got sick and died.
yeah,
So the idea is to, we're going to get through it. We have, if you're healthy enough, you have the immunity or the immune system to combat something like this. We're combating germs every day. What happened to, and we were talking about that last couple of podcasts, like people don't wash their hands. You
yeah,
go to the bathroom, I see people never washing their hands. They're not dying.
yeah.
Um, so the only way to beat it is to just, in my opinion, is to
Join it.
go, not join it, but go, just go out about our business now. I
Yeah,
think you're gonna be fine. Now this is a possibility. You have to be conscious. You have to know that you have to be taking your vitamins, your immune system. You gotta exercise. You better sleep. You better drink plenty of water. Get some sunlight. You know. I hope it really wakes people up the way it woke me up. Because for a while there, I was telling you, man, I kind of let go of things. I wasn't exercising. My sleep was all over the place. My nutrition was all over the place. So nowadays, I'm trying to take the opportunity and hit that reset button.
yeah.
You know. Um. Yeah. What's something that you've learned throughout this whole ordeal that maybe you would consider common knowledge or common sense that other people would consider not so common?
Uh, I mean, I don't know. I guess I learned how to wash my hands longer. Like
What?
I would be the one like who go to the bathroom. Like I mean, this was mostly at home. Like when I was out, like say I went to a restaurant and I went to the bathroom, I would wash my hands longer. But like if I was at home, I'd put my hands in the water, get the soap, like go like this, and I'd be done.
Yeah.
So like I don't do that anymore. Like I'll do it slow and I'll keep going. But like, I mean, I don't know. Like when it came down to staying away from people, that's how I was before. When it comes down to not spending a bunch of money, that's kind of how I was before. When it came down to buying things that I needed, I mean, for the most part, I bought things that either I needed. If I went out and spent a lot of money, it was on something that I can guarantee lasted a long time and something that would keep me from spending more money. So like, I don't know. This really wasn't too much for me to learn through this that I can see right now. I I think that After Effects are gonna be where I learn the most.
Yeah. Yeah, because you'll look back and you're like, you know what? Yeah, this is something that happened in me. This is a
Yeah.
good learning experience.
Hmm.
I, for one, like yourself, um, I mean, I always, I've been always careful when it comes to washing my hands and grabbing a towel to open the door. Like, I'm telling you, I used to see people from go to the stall to grabbing the door, and then while I'm washing my hands, I would see another person go from the stall to the sink to wash their hands to go grab the door. So I was
Yep.
like, oh man, these people, I mean, they're just still doing it. They're just adding an extra step.
Well, now think about this. That person who grabbed the door for the bathroom also needs to leave the place. So also touch the front door that you touched on the way in.
Um, well, it depends where. I mean, I'm telling you. Oh, so I had already added that step. Like if I
Yeah.
go to the bathroom, like if I'm gonna go to the bathroom, I usually wash my hands first. I don't know if you've ever done that.
I mean, I don't unless like my hands are like dirty. Like if I just kind of was out for the day and I didn't really feel like I didn't feel anything on my hand that needed to be clean, I don't do that.
Yeah,
Like if I'm
I
eating
always
dinner
forget, man.
and
Every time we go to the bars, I forget, but I still do the second part, which is wash your hands, grab a towel, open the door. You know
yeah,
that one's like ingrained. Uh,
yeah,
yeah, it was after maybe it was going to the airport a lot. I saw a lot of people doing the same thing, and it wasn't disgust, but it was more of yeah, it's like I'm not gonna touch that. Like I don't know what these people are doing in the stalls, man. Sometimes, especially like at the Home Depot stalls. I don't know if you've ever been. It's like a
uh,
nuclear warfare in there, man. Yeah. But yeah, man, I can't wait to get back to normal, man. I can't wait to get you back in the studio.
I don't know. No one's
And
even seen our new apartment. We
I
haven't
know.
been
Are
able
you
to
guys
invite anyone.
are you guys planning on a housewarming party?
Can't plan one yet. 'Cause I mean, there are still people who aren't like willing to go. Like my roommate's fine with people coming, and I mean, I don't necessarily care that much, but there are some people I'm just like, nah,
Right.
because it's like you already know that they're not clean before, they ain't gonna be clean now.
Right. And
So,
so you already know those friends.
yep.
Oh man, that's funny.
So,
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can get you back in the if things started opening up. I'm planning to grab another microphone of these. That way we don't have those echoes and the lagginess of Skype, and we can do one in person.
yeah,
Um, yeah, man. Other than
should
that,
be good times.
yeah, what's been going on with you? That's it.
That's about it.
Well, I'm glad that we were able to do another podcast, man. I know we're still trying to figure things out. Um, busy has been, I mean, busy. Work has been a lot busier nowadays. So I feel like I kind of just came into this episode almost empty handed, but I learned a lot, man. We had a good conversation. Hopefully, some people get stuff out of this. And like always, guys, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, ask some questions, roast us, whatever. Give us some feedback. That way we can, Greg and I can continue learning and, um, yeah, and try to get better at this thing. And thank you guys
Yeah.
for bearing with us through our technical difficulties that seem never ending.
One day.
Oh man, dude. So let's see, where are we at? On the heart of the Buddha. All right, Greg, here we go. The gift of truth overcomes all gifts. The joy of truth overcomes all pleasures. The taste of truth overcomes all sweetness. The loss of desire overcomes all sorrows. And with that, thank you guys for joining us on another episode of Thought Process. Again, my name is Marco, and this is Greg. If you can't already see him on YouTube. Um, yeah, we're looking forward to being back next week.
Thanks, yes.
Thanks again,
See
Greg.
you later.
Thanks for
Thank you, Marco.
joining me today. I'll talk to you later,
Yep.
man.